The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have lost with a final score being the Bengals 34, the Buccaneers 23. And I know, firstly, that a lot of people did not have a lot of high hopes for this game, I guess I should say. A lot of people thought this was a game that the Buccaneers might lose. At the very least, it was going to be a struggle for the Bucs. I know a lot of people assumed that, right? But this was, by definition, by literal definition, a tale of two halves. And I do want to say this, even with the Buccaneers having a 6-8 record now, they're still number one in the NFC South. So, yay, I guess, but tale of two halves. What do I mean by that? In the first half, the Bucs played really, really, really good football. The offense was moving, humming. Yes, they had to settle for a field goal at the Bengals' 3rd-yard line instead of going for a touchdown. Yes, they missed a field goal at some point. I believe it was a 50-yard field goal from Ryan Suckup. I totally understand those couple of miscues, but overall, things looked good. They ended the first half with a 17-3 lead. Very good first half, right? Then, in the second half, everything fell apart. Everything. I mean that quite literally. Every single thing that you could have humanly imagined could go wrong went wrong. And look, people can call it Murphy's Law, people can call it what it is. That was a horrific second half by the Bucs. I think a lot of people deserve blame, okay? Let's talk about the big guy himself, Tom Brady. Is that his worst half? And look, people can say this is going to be overly negative, whatever you want to call it. Is that the worst second half we've ever seen from Tom Brady as a Buck, or possibly even ever in his career? I don't know. The answer is possibly 4 total turnovers from Brady in that second half for the Bengals. 2 interceptions. One was a really good play by Trey Flowers, but it was still a pass that was a little bit away from Cam Brate. One was just a really ugly interception where Brady was getting hit and he just flung the ball up into the air. And 2 fumbles. One on a miscued handoff to Leonard Fournette. You can blame Fournette a little bit if you want to on that, but it looked like the ball had slipped out of Brady's hands, or hand, whenever he was handing it off. And then one where Brady was scrambling a little bit, he got hit, fumbled the football. It's 4 turnovers for Tom Brady. That's bad. You're not going to win a football game whenever you're turning over the football 4 times in the second half alone. In the second half alone, that second half looked like Bucs teams of old, where you know the team is bad, right? And you just expect stuff like that to happen. But with Brady, now obviously this is an outlier. People can say that Brady's washed. People can say whatever they want to say. Okay? Brady played a bad second half. He played a very good first half. And that's just that is what it is, you know. There was also a turnover where the Bucs had tried a fake punt. Giovanni Bernard was not ready for it. It looks like there was even a miscommunication between Bernard and the long snapper. That resulted in a short field for the Bengals. That's how the Bengals won this game, is because of all of those miscues on defense. Whenever the Buccaneers would get a stop, there would be a penalty on a player that would result in the drive extending. Carlton Davis had one. Levante David had one. Levante David played a bad second half as well, by the way. He really did. It's just the guys that you would have expected to step up in the second half did not do so. They didn't look good in that second half. Brady, David, Davis, just the names can go on and on. Yes, there was a couple of drops by guys like Russell Gage, which did not help at all. Couple of bad penalties from guys like O'Keefe, which wasn't good. Chris Godwin had a bad flag. And I do get that. That's part of it, right? But man, oh man, that was such a bad second half. It's the reason they lost. It is. You're not going to win the game whenever you're turning the ball over 4 times. You're giving the Bengals so many short fields. You allowed the Bengals to come back into this football game. You did. And that resulted in the loss. It did. So, again, tale of two halves by definition. Really frustrating game, I imagine, for a lot of people just to see how good that first half was and then just have the second half be what it was. And Brady, 30 of 44, 312 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. Rushing the ball, 25 carries for 92 yards for the Bucs today. Evans and Godwin had some good moments. Godwin, 8 catches, 83 yards, and a touchdown. Evans, 5 catches, 83 yards. Gage, 8 catches, 59 yards, 2 touchdowns. We even saw a little bit of Devin Tompkins, which was cool. He had some bad mistakes as a returner as well in this game, just taking the ball out of the end zone when it probably wasn't necessary. Tom Brady had 2 fumbles. He lost both of them. Giovanni Bernard had a fumble, as I said, on that fake punt. He did recover, but it was a turnover on downs. Just tough, man. Davis played good to a certain, in most of the game, I thought he played good. He had 4 pass deflections in this game against Jamar Chase. That's not easy. Levante David had a sack. Anthony Nelson had a half sack. JTS had a half sack and 2 quarterback hits. There was some good moments, obviously, sprinkled in this game, but a lot of that came in the first half. That second half was bad, just on all levels. Offense could not get anything done. The defense was given short fields. They eventually got tired and gassed out and were giving up some costly penalties that was resulting in those Bengals drives being extended whenever they would have been stops at certain points. It's huge. Big thing. Burrow took a sack, like a 20-something yard sack. It was negated because of the Levante David penalty. That was in the second half. Special teams wasn't great. Devin Tompkins didn't look good as a returner in the second half. There was that fake punt absolute blunder that had occurred as well. It was just a bad second half, man. It is what it is. Hopefully the Bucs can move on from it, but that's soul-crushing, man. That's a soul-crushing second half. We'll see how they look the remainder of the second half of this season because they're going to need a rebound because they have a lot to prove now. And I mean everybody has a lot to prove. So we'll see if they're going to be able to do so, folks. Man, oh man, tough game, tough second half after such an encouraging first half. But yeah, the Bucs let this game, Bucs and Brady let this game slip right through their hands, point blank. Simple as that, man. Tough loss, tough loss.